It started 2 years ago when my sister Aya called me at midnight, crying. She and her fiancé had broken up. Tia, she had nowhere to go. Tia's shared apartment lease had been terminated and she needed a place fast. I hesitated for maybe 3 seconds before telling her she could stay in my house rent-free till she got back on her feet. That house wasn't just any house. It was my dream home. 4 bedrooms, a wraparound porch, oak floors, and the kind of kitchen that made you want to bake pies from scratch. I'd spent years working 2 jobs to afford the down payment. Blood, sweat, and more tears than I'd ever admit. But when Alia needed help, I didn't think twice. "You're my sister," I said. "Of course, you can stay here." At first, it was fine. Alia was quiet, respectful, and even cleaned up around the place. I lived in the guest room for a few months while she settled into the master bedroom. She said she'd only need 6 months to figure things out. She stayed for 18. And in that time, everything changed. Alia started acting like the house was hers. She hosted loud parties, repainted my kitchen walls without asking, and started referring to the place as home in a way that made me uneasy. She began leaving passive-aggressive notes about things that annoyed her. Dishes I left in the sink, lights I forgot to turn off, mail I hadn't sorted. Worse, she started inviting her new boyfriend over regularly. Zane, a smug, jobless guy, who always gave me weird vibes, like he was silently measuring things in the house. Price tags in his eyes. I ignored the red flags. I was tired. Work was draining me. My patience had thinned, but it hadn't run out. Not yet, until her birthday party. She invited over 12 people, most I didn't even know, and turned my backyard into a full-blown event. Balloons, speakers, catered food, even a hired photographer. I hadn't been asked. I hadn't even been told. I stood in the hallway, staring at the crowd, when I heard Alia make the toast. 2 new beginnings. She shouted into finally owning something real. People clapped. Then she said it, and special thanks to Zane, who made the transfer process so easy. This house is just the beginning. I blinked. What transfer process? That night, I searched her room while she was passed out drunk. I found the papers in her drawer. My house's title, forged, with my fake signature. A full set of transfer documents naming her as the legal owner. I stared at it, numbed. Then I whispered to myself, "Bad idea, Alia." I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the edge of my bed, holding the forged title documents with trembling fingers. My heart was pounding, not out of fear, but rage. Pure, focused rage. She tried to steal my house, the very house she begged to stay in rent-free. Out of love, I gave her shelter. And she responded by faking signatures and throwing parties as if she owned the place. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to do what I always did when backed into a corner. Outthink, outmaneuver. When, the next morning, before Alia woke up, I photographed every forged page. I checked the notary signature, also fake. She'd clearly Googled how to transfer property and tried to mimic the process without realizing how much legal infrastructure she'd need to bypass. It was amateur fraud, but it was still fraud, and it gave me power. I quietly began gathering everything, every message where she'd called it her home, every screenshot of her social posts saying, "We just bought this place." Photos from the birthday party with captions like "Cheers to our new house." Few voicemails from her laughing. "It's not like you ever really used the master suite anyway." I also pulled the house deed and mortgage papers, still fully in my name, and took them to my lawyer the next day. Enter Mr. Danish Raza, my attorney. "You're telling me your sister tried to steal your house using a forged deed?" T asked, lifting an eyebrow. "Not tried. She thinks she did. That's the scary part." He reviewed the documents carefully, whistling at the blatant forgery. This is laughably bad. We can take this straight to civil court. Maybe even criminal if you want to press. I nodded. Let's start with civil. I want her out. And after that, Ka smiled. Let's make sure she never forgets what it cost her. Over the next 48 hours, Danish and I filed a cessantist, a preliminary injunction, and a formal petition to void the fraudulent transfer. Meanwhile, I remained calm and quiet at home. I even cooked dinner the night before everything hit. Alia sauntered into the kitchen, like she was queen of the manor. I'm thinking of knocking down the wall between the kitchen and dining, she said casually. More of an open concept vibe. I nodded. Sounds nice. You don't mind, right? I smiled. Not at all. In fact, tomorrow I'll give you everything you need. She laughed and poured herself a glass of wine. See? Knew you'd come around. I excused myself and went to bed early the next morning. She woke to a loud knock on the door. Process server, legal envelope in hand. Witnessed, timestamped, delivered, ALYA. Screamed my name. What the hell is this? I came downstairs in sweatpants. Yawning, huh? She threw the papers at me. You're suing me? Not suing, I said calmly, correcting a mistake. You're insane. No, I said. I'm very, very sane. You tried to steal my house. I have proof. You committed fraud. You forged legal documents. You lied to your friends. You celebrated your theft publicly. And now you'll answer for it. She stood, frozen. I leaned close. You wanted to be the owner, right? Well, welcome to the real weight of ownership. Let's see how well you hold up in court. Over the next 2 weeks, things moved fast. Her boyfriend bailed first. Zane didn't want to be caught up in a legal battle with potential jail time. He ghosted her, deleted her photos, blocked her. Alia moved through the house like a ghost, slowly realizing she'd messed with someone who didn't fight with fists, but with facts and filings. She tried calling relatives to guilt-trip them. Most didn't respond. A few messaged me in private. We're with you. She went too far. I let my lawyer do all the talking now. Alia would still try to throw snarky comments my way, like, you wouldn't kick your own sister out, would you? But I just smiled and said, you stopped being my sister the day you tried to steal what I bled for. Finally, the court date arrived. She showed up in a wrinkled dress, the shaky, part-time legal aid she probably found online. I arrived with Danish.com and prepared. We laid out every document, every digital trail, every contradiction in her timeline. When the judge saw the fake notary stamp and the signature mismatch, his frown deepened. This isn't just a bad transfer, he said. It's deliberate fraud. I'm voiding the transaction, restoring full ownership to the plaintiff immediately. Then he looked at her and added, and I strongly recommend you seek criminal counsel before the next hearing. Alia's mouth fell open. I didn't look at her. I just stood, thanked the judge, and walked out with everything I came to protect.